So hello and welcome to Thermomixing with Donna. So this is our Thursday night recipe inspiration class where we are using the TM6 and the TM7. So we do have a number of customers that have one machine, both machines, or even older models. But the recipes that we're doing tonight, one of the recipes can be done in any model, so 31, 5, 6, or 7. The other recipe, actually two of the recipes can be done in any of those models. The recipe we're going to do in the 7 is only for the 6 and the 7. So the 31 and the 5, you can't do it in those, unfortunately, because it uses a high heat function. And the high heat, that's a bit of a tongue twister. High heat function takes it to 160 degrees in 30 seconds. Now, you can't get a frying pan out that fast. So that's exclusive to the 6 and the 7. So we're going to be using the high heat mode tonight. So what I've got happening at the moment, we've already got, we'll just take this off the scales. So what we've got in the 6, we've nothing in the 6 at the minute. We've got the 7 is actually using the kettle mode. Now you can use your Thermomix, both your 6 and your 7, instead of a kettle in the kitchen. It is actually really economical. I did a test with my solar the other week, just because I saw the solar spike and I was like, wow, that's that. I put the kettle on and the solar spike. And we were pulling from the grid. It was 7 a.m. We didn't have quite enough sunshine outside. And we started to pull our electricity from the grid versus just from the solar. I turned the kettle off, went to my Thermomix, put my cup of water in my Thermomix to make my 1 cup of tea, which is what I was making, and basically put it on kettle mode, press play, and there was no spike on my solar. So I was not pulling from the grid. So that saved me money. So you can imagine if you do that multiple times, it's a win-win. So if you're working with caravans, camping, that kind of thing, or you've just got, a battery backup, the Thermomix is far more economical than a kettle. All right, so that's, at the moment, it's at 90 degrees. It's only been going for a few minutes. And this is going to be to 100 degrees, and it's going to go in this Thermoserver. Now, there's going to be a lot of Thermoserver talk tonight. I've got the old Thermoserver here, which has got my strawberries in, ready for my vegan fruity dream. I've got another Thermoserver to the side here, which is going to have the chicken teriyaki put into it. And then this Thermoserver is actually going to cook our rice. All right, so first thing I'm going to do while that's cooking in there, we're going to do 150 grams of rice, which I've already measured out and I've rinsed. So this is sitting in water in my Thermoserver. So I'm just going to give it a drain. So I've given it a good rinse. Just going to drain it out. These simmering baskets are brilliant for actually draining things, sieving things. It's like it's a colander basically. So we're just going to pop that into the bottom of there. And again, don't be scared of giving your bowl a bang to get all that out. All right, so we've got our rice in the bottom of the bowl, just rice at the minute. Okay, now we're going to need 10 grams of oil. So I'm just going to tip this water out, ready for when the boiling water's finished. All right, so just tip that out. Okay, so we're going to pop in here 10 grams of oil. So again, with our TM6, you've got your Tinder screen, swipe left, swipe right. It's the only thing I know that swipes. So we're going to swipe across to our scales and we're just going to pop in 10 grams. Now, if you've got a 31, whoops, because I've got the wire down here, if I touch the wire, it actually does move around a lot. So we're going to put 10 grams in, which is not much. There we go. And we're going to set it going. Oh, we need 250 grams of water. Whoops, I missed that bit. This is me being organised and not quite as organised as I thought. I'll just grab some water. Now, all right, so we're going to do 250 grams of water. Now, this recipe is on Recipe Community, which is another mechanism where you can actually find recipes that people have designed themselves, and you can actually import them to your cookie dough. All right, so if you don't know what the Recipe Community is, I'm sure Emily will pop that in the chat. Feel free to email me if you need to know any other information on that. So we've got that in there. All right, that's finished now. I will come back to that in a second. And we're going to do 5 minutes on this one. Whoops. Come on. So we're going to go 5 minutes. I find this so slow these days. After using the 7 for so long now, this feels like a dinosaur, which seems crazy really, because up until about probably 3 or 4 months ago, this was my best friend. And it still is my best friend, but I think it's kind of a secondary best friend now. All right, and then we're going to go to speed 1. So we've got 100 degrees, so 5 minutes, 100 degrees, speed 1. All right, so we're just going to let that cook, and that's going to heat up that water and that rice, ready for us to transfer it into the Thermoserver. The only thing I haven't put in there, I've just realised, is some salt. So you have to have salt in your, and somebody's stolen my salt cell. Right, here we go. Now, the luxury of the 6, there is a plus point to the 6, is that you can take the lid off. Can't do that in there. So I'm just going to put a good amount of salt in there. This is from the mix shop, by the way. So if you like a bit of we've got salt and pepper in there. These are available in the mix shop, and at the moment there is a mix shop sale on. Well, that's just something to note. Black Friday sale. Okay. All right, where are we? Now then, that's cooking. Now we're going to take the boiling water out of here. So it's at 98 degrees. I'm sure we'll cope with that. And obviously very carefully, I'm going to pour this into the Thermoserver. As you can see, the steam is super hot. All right, just do that. And that bowl's going to dry now, which is great. And I'm going to pop on our Thermoserver lid, which has a seal on it. And I'm not going to seal it because I am going to just move it out of the way. So I'm just going to pop it carefully over here. I am going to fasten it up a little bit because I just got some water out of it. Right. So the seal on it makes it so that it stays obviously sealed. So that will stay hot until that's ready. Now then, let's move that out of the way. All right, we're going to move on to this one. Now then, in our guided cooking for the week, I'm going to show you this feature, which if you're new to the class and you're new to a TM7, it is pretty cool now, the TM7, that you can actually send a recipe directly to the screen. So if I'm going to search for chicken teriyaki, so in the recipe, I'm just going to search chicken teriyaki, comes up on screen, and it says send to TM7. So I'm just going to send it to the TM7, and it will appear, okay, presto, on the Thermomix. Love that function. It's so cool. All right. So next week, fingers crossed, next week, because I'm going to be away, I'm actually flying to the UK on Saturday. Next week, I'm going to do a cookie do class. At least that's my plan. Don't hold me to it, but that's what I'm aiming to do. All right, so let's go to the beginning of this recipe. Now then, I was prepping this recipe earlier, so I'm just going to go to the beginning. So we go. So if you're in a recipe, you can go back to the beginning. So just scroll all the way up to the top, choose the 3 little dots and set as current step, and that's going to take you back to the beginning of the recipe. All right, so the first step is 10 grams of olive oil. So we're going to pop our 10 grams on. Oops, let's tear it because I did a bit of, all right. That's all it should need, a little bit more. There we go, 10 grams, 11. And it ticks it off. It's like a sense of achievement when it goes ding, ding, it ticks it off. You probably can't hear the ding, but I can. And next step is chicken. Whoops, forgot to set that out. But these are already prepped, so we are good to go. Now then, how good are these as well? These little like tops that you can put on to keep it fresh. Now then, we're going to do, it says 250 grams, so that's about half of what I'm going to do. So I'm going to double the recipe because we like a good amount of chicken in our food, in our meals. So I'm going to just put this. And the other thing to note as well, whoops, over, there we go. The other thing to note is I'm using chicken breast. It should be chicken thigh. When you're stir frying, the chicken thigh is a little bit better because it actually gets, it keeps together a bit better. Next. All right, now then. So it's going to do 5 minutes on 160 degrees intense. All right, intense. Sounds a bit. So press play. All right, and that's going to carry on cooking. All right, now then, I'm going to pop this in the bin because it's had chicken on it. So I'm going to reuse that. Now then. Okay, how long have we got to go on here? Oh, perfect, 51 seconds. So when this is finished, I'm going to get my Thermoserver again, and I'm just going to tip, you can probably hear me, but I'm just going to tip this hot water out because this Thermoserver is nice and prepped now. And I'm going to quickly put the lid back on. Oh, now if you were with me, you will be able to hear that the TM7 is sizzling away. It's really quite like, psst, really sizzling. I feel like I've got to make sounds because I'm sure that their Zoom will block them out, so you won't be able to hear it. But yeah, so it's sizzling away. The other advantage to this is, watch this. Oh, I can take the lid off, have a quick look, pop it back on, and it carries on. So it will stop and then it carries on. Now with the stir frying, what it does with the stir frying high heat is it turns and stops. It turns and stops. So it just like it in a pan. The only difference is you don't have to actually stand with it. You could go make yourself a cup of tea or grab a glass of wine or whatever you want to do at this point. Now then, I'm transferring this into the thermoserver using my spatula. So we've got a rice in here. So there's a little bit of water left. So I'm just gonna quickly, as quick as I can, get this in here just to keep all the heat in. Like so. There we go. Using the special limited edition spatula that comes with the sparkling white. I love this because it's green. All right, let's quickly grab that lid, put that lid on. I'm just going to flatten that out a bit actually, just so it's all in the water. Like so. And then pop the lid on. And we're going to leave that. And in 25 minutes, that rice should be done. That one there like that. So we'll come back at the end and see how we're going with that. And that means that you don't have to take up your Thermomix while you're doing it. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of water in here now. Then we can move on to the next recipe in between what we're doing. And because we're doing fruity dreams, well, we're not doing fruity dreams, we're doing a vegan ice cream. We don't really want rice and olive oil and that and salt, do we? So let's just get that out. Now, of course, the Thermomix has a pre-clean function. So you could, at this point, pre-clean if you wanted to. But to be honest, you've only had rice in it. It's perfectly clean. So we'll just carry on with the recipe. Now we've got 2 minutes 24. So I think we'll just get on with the fruity dream on this side. So we've got the frozen strawberries are here. We're making it with a banana instead of you see the smoke coming out of that. Woohoo! The other thing as well with breast, it cooks very differently to the thigh. So we'll see what this looks like. It sometimes shreds it a little bit. I don't mind too much because it still tastes good, but that's the difference between the thigh and the breast. It will sometimes shred it even though it's on reverse. All right, so we're going to go to our on the TM6 when you go into where you've put it. So I've put it into my week in the recipe planner. Which you do from your Cookie Do app on your phone. So you select the recipe you want. Instead of cook today, you go to a little calendar next to it, select the calendar, and then it will give you where you want to cook it. And then, of course, it will put it into your week. So it's in my week, and it's on both machines. So if I had a 5 as well, it would also go to the 5. The Cookie Do is brilliant. Access to 100,000 recipes from all over the world. Okay, so we're going to go to Vegan Fruity Dream. Okay, so we're going to be literally going between the machines. So we're going to start cooking. Now, the first step, I have to say, is actually going to be sugar. So I just need to make sure that this is completely dry. So when you're making icing sugar, you need to have it pristinely dry. So it looks dry, but I don't think it's fully dry. So we're going to put it on a turbo just to be sure. So I'm just going to give that, I'm just going to pop the lid on. And I'm going to go to home screen. I'm going to swipe across my Tinder screen and I'm going to go to turbo. Now, turbo on the 6 is very different to the 7. We have to turn the dial. So I just do 2 turns. Whereas on the TM7, I could have selected twice and it would have done it twice. And also on the 6, you have to release it. So I have to scroll back to that screen and unselect it, or you could click on home screen and it would go back to the home and it would release it as well. Now when I look in the bottom, there is a little bit of, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little bit of liquid around the bottom. So I'm just going to dry that off with my tea towel. Going clockwise, not anti-clockwise, so I don't want to cut my fingers. Look at that, the Thermomix is going off, my phone's going off to tell me it's ready. It's amazing. All right. We're going to come back to that, but in the meantime, we're just going to have a look at this chicken. Oh, that's hot. Now then, look at that. Perfectly cooked chicken. So what we're going to do with that now, got so many Thermomixes on the go, just going to grab my Thermoserver and we're going to keep the juices in. So I'm not going to tip the whole lot out. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take out the chicken. Like so. because I'm going to put the next lot of chicken in. So I want to keep those juices in the bowl so that they're going to help to cook the next lot of chicken. And I'll just release it a little bit because a bit gets stuck to the bottom. So I'll just release that. Like so, whoops. That will be the Thermoserver lid on the floor. All right, so now I'm going to repeat that step. So I'm going to pop the lid that fell on the floor. Oh, at least you know this class is, you see what you get. You get what you see. All right, so I'm just going to pop that over there. And I'm going to go back a step to the beginning and set as current step. And we're kind of repeating the process. So I'm just going to pop the chicken in because we've already got some stuff in the bottom. I'll just pop a little bit of oil. It doesn't need much, just a little bit. Because I'm doing like a double batch of the chicken, pop a lid on. And I'm going to go next. And it's now going to do the saute again. So that's 5 minutes in that one. Meanwhile, we're going to do our icing sugar. Now, if you haven't done icing sugar in your Thermomix yet, it blows me away every time I do it. So we've got raw sugar here, and I'm going to pop it in. Now it's nice and dry. And I'm going to pop the lid on. And we're going to go to our recipe, which is, it's saved as a little cookbook on the top screen on your 6. And it says 80 grams of raw sugar. Well, I kind of put I had 65 grams. That's all I had left, so that's what's gone in. I'm going to go next, and it's going to do 10 seconds on speed 9. So we just turn it all the way around. And we're going to have icing sugar. So all of your icing sugar is coming out the top. There we go. So how quick was that? All right, so you don't need to have multiple lots of sugar in your house. You only need to have raw sugar or white sugar. Now, if you do a lot of icing, you want white sugar, not raw sugar, because raw sugar, even though it looks white, when you make it into icing sugar, it looks like it's on fire. When you make it into your icing sugar, it actually, whoops, wrong one, with chicken on. It will get like it's almost like a creamy color as opposed to that white royal icing. So if you're going to be doing your icing for cakes, I usually use white sugar for that. And also if you're going to do things like caramel syrup, it asks for white sugar as well. All right, so now it's asking me to put a banana in. So this recipe is a vegan one rather than the egg. We normally put an egg in here. So I've got a very, very mature banana. So that's going in. So that'll help with the sweetness as well. All right, we're going to go next. And it says insert the measuring cup into the mixing bowl lid. So we're going to put that on next. And I'm just going to blend that for 30 seconds. Oh, 30 seconds seems like a long time. All right, shall we have a little look-see and see what it looks like? So, oh, it's like, oh, that's nice. Oh, it reminds me of baby food. Look at that. It looks like pureed apple. It's obviously pureed banana, but with sugar in. So I'm going to pop that back in here. All right, now it says next, add in 600 to 650 grams of frozen seasonal fruit. So we're going to pop this in. See if I've got it right. Oh, it's a little bit over, but we'll be fine. All right, then again, Thermoserver, brilliant use. Now then, next, insert the measuring cup into the mixing bowl lid. It's already in. And we're going to go next. And this is going to blend it up for 40 seconds. We've got 1 minute 44 left on that one. Now, if you can hear, I don't know if you could hear that noise, but if you get that noise where it sounds like it's like a high squeal, it means that the fruit is on the sides and it's not actually touching the blade. So if you make that noise, just pause it, take your lid off and push it down so that it's onto the blade and then go again. just going to scrape around the top a little bit, get some of that banana and sugar off. This already smells amazing. I'll show you what it looks like at this point, just so you can see where we're at. So it's already looking quite crushed. So I'll pop the lid back on and we'll hit it back on blend. 37 seconds to go. Yeah, so it's not getting to the blade. I can hear the difference. It's not squealing, but it's just not getting down there to the bottom. So I'm just going to give it a quick stir so that we can get some of those chunks down to the bottom. Because you do want it to be, you can see from this, you can see it's getting a little bit more creamier than it was before. And if you look at the bowl, can you see the ice on the bowl? That's how cold it is. Oh, and that one's finished. So we'll just turn that for 40 seconds. Meanwhile, we will move to this. So, all right, so this is actually saying enough. All right, so let's have a see. Yeah, that's good. All right, so using the tongs, transfer the chicken. So we've done that. Scrape the bottom of the mixing bowl. So I'm just going to go around with this. I'm actually going around with the tongs because it's a bit harder than the spatula. Just to release. Next. All right, now we're going to put in. So I better put the lid on here and keep these warm. So that's all the chicken cooked. I'll leave that out of the way. Now we're going to go to some of our other vegetables. So I'll just quickly tell you what we're putting in here. So we've got onion, we've got capsicum, we've got carrot. So obviously I've prepped these and I've used what I've got in the fridge. So they're not exactly the same, but I know they work because I make this recipe an awful lot. Okay, so we've got, it says eschalots, or shallots as I call it, which is not spring onion, which I know a lot of Australians think it is. So we've got way more than 30 grams, but I don't mind. So I'm just going to pop them in. So that's red onion. Then we've got, so I'll just tick it off. Then we've got capsicum. So we've got a capsicum here. So I'm just going to pop that in. We might even get that right. No, we've over on that one as well. I've got carrot and mushroom because it's just what I had in. These are, I've matchsticked my carrot using one of those shark peelers. Really easy and really good. From my lovely friend Diane, if she's on. And then it says snow peas. I didn't have any of them, so I'm using zucchini. And I've also got some broccoli. So instead of snow peas, we've got that. And my broccoli goes in the top. And now we need 20 grams of olive oil. Now I think we'll be lucky if there's 20 grams in here, but hopefully. All right, so we'll just tear that. And I'm going to do it around the edge of the bowl because I really want it to get down to the bottom. All right, I think we're out. It was going to tick that off for me, which is very nice of it. All right, so now it's going to saute that for 5 minutes at 160 degrees. So I'm just going to press play, and that's going to cook away while we go back to our ice cream. All right, so I'll show you what this looks like at this point. How cool does that look? Yum. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go next. And it says scrape the sides of the bowl. Well, we don't really need to do that. I've already done it. Insert the measuring cup, and it's going to blend it again. It doesn't need to because I've blended it plenty. So we're going to skip that. And it says insert the butterfly whisk, which I definitely have. Here we go. Now, a bit of a rule. With your butterfly whisk, you cannot go above speed 4. All right, so speed 4 maximum, make a note of that. Anything to do with your butterfly whisk, if you go above speed 4, you won't have a butterfly anymore, and it'll be more like a sticking set. All right, so we're going to pop this just into the middle. Now, it's a bit more complicated on the TM6 than it is on the 7, I will be honest. On the 7, it really doesn't matter where you put it, as long as you put it between the blades. With the 6, you try and get it like with the higher blade on one side and twist it. So we're going to wing it. I'll show you what it looks like. So we'll wing it and see if that's in right. I think so. You can listen with your 6, The 7, because it's so quiet, you don't always hear it. So it's worthwhile. The difference is there. Your TM7 is silent to speed 3, which does make a big difference. So we're going to go. So we're doing 1 minute on speed 4, of course. So that's going to whip it into almost like a mousse. So it's like a strawberry mousse. Oh, it's so good. And it will fill the bowl. I mean, you can already see the ice on the bottom. We've got ice up here now as well. So it really does. You won't see it on the 7 because the 7's insulated. So it would be on the inside. But it's just amazing. So we've got 3 minutes left on this one. We've got our rice cooking in our Thermoserver, which I'm not going to take the lid off. But I'm just gonna move it over so it's a bit nearer. So what else can I tell you? So, the good news is, if you're watching this on YouTube, depending on this was I don't even know what date it is today. I'm gonna say the 20th, is it? It's 20th today. So it's the 20th of November, I think. And we have had our trade up extended. So if you've got an older Thermomix, so a TM31, TM5, or TM7, the trade-up offer has been extended. So you can get $250 off a TM. If you've got a TM31, you get $250 off a 7. If you've got a TM5, it's $450. And if you've got a TM6, it's $750. And all you need to do is return it to Thermomix. They pay for the postage and you can get yourself a brand new TM7 on your bench. So speak to your consultant if it's something that you want to do. All right, now we're going to remove the butterfly whisk. How cool is this? Look at that. That's amazing. So that is homemade ice cream, super healthy. It's just strawberries, banana, and sugar. That's it. So what I'll do now, it says next. So it basically says serve. Should I have a taste? Oh, go on then. Let me grab a spoon. They have to have a taste test, right? So let's have a see. A big taste test. Yeah, that's good. So refreshing for summer too. Yeah. Right. So I can show you another trick as well, actually. But I'm just going to scrape some of this out. I'm going to leave the butterfly in place for now while I scrape it out. Because it's so hot tonight, I am sweating like I don't know what. But because it's so hot, it's actually just coming straight out into the dish. Now, you can freeze this. All right, so don't be worried about you have to eat it all straight away. It freezes quite well. I usually try and freeze it in a small, what do you call it? In either a low, like a shallow, that's the word, I was trying to think of the word, in a shallow dish, just so that it's easier to scoop out. It does sometimes crystallize a little bit, so that's just worth noting. But what you can do is when you've got most of it out, and this is what I love to do. Now then, teach you a trick. I'm leaving the butterfly in place because, as you can see, there's quite a bit left in there. I don't want to waste it. So I'm just going to pop some milk in there, and I'm going to make a milkshake. So I'm just going to take that edge off there, because that's mine. Now then, where's my lid? There's my lid. All right. Now, the other difference as well, these are the old style Thermoservers. These will keep things hot or cold for up to about 2 hours. The new Thermoserver is double that, so it's up to 4 hours. So this will stay, that'll stay cold there until we've had our dinner, which is great. I'll grab some milk. Oh, the TM7's ready as well. Gosh, I'm multitasking in my kitchen. All right, so we're going to use this manually. I'm going to go next on there, and I'm just going to put in probably just a cupful of milk. All right, and then I'm going to put my lid on like so, and I'm going to doing it manually. All right, so I'm going to do about 30 seconds. I would show you the blend mode, but unfortunately the blend mode will go a lot higher than speed 4. And of course, we don't want any temperature. We just want speed 4. So I'm just going to go to speed 4. And I'm just going to make myself a nice milkshake. Meanwhile, we're going to transfer our lovely cooked vegetables to our thermoserver. Oh my goodness me, I am dripping tonight. The humidity is terrible. So I'm going to get sweat in my food. Right. Now then, let's get this out with the right spatula. So I'm just going to tip all of this out into here. And I must admit, I do usually use the bigger one. I've got them the wrong way around tonight, I've just realised. Because I normally put the chicken teriyaki into the big one. Then I can mix it with the rice afterwards, but that's all right. But you can see how much it makes. Now, I'm going to pop that back on. And the next thing we're going to do is the sauce. Now, we are going to go over time, so I do apologise, but we have got through quite a bit tonight. So there's our chicken teriyaki without the sauce at the minute. Nice and hot. Put that on there. Next. All right, so it says scrape base of the mixing bowl. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a scrape, but that'll be fine. It's going to have some things put in next. So it says do not clean. Now we like that, don't we? When we don't have to clean the bowl. So we've got fresh ginger and fresh garlic. So I'm just going to put these in. Now, ordinarily, you would use fresh ginger and fresh garlic. I'm using paste tonight just for simplicity because that's what I had in the fridge. It says chop 8 seconds, speed 7, but there's nothing to chop. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to move that around because it's supposed to be along the edge of the bowl. So I'm just going to do that and move it along there and skip. It says scrape down the sides. Don't need to do that because, well, there's nothing to scrape down. Then I'm going to put in, it says tamari, which is gluten-free soy sauce. So I'm just going to put soy sauce in because we don't need the gluten-free bit. Honey. Now this is from the mix shop, so these are really handy. I just need 30 grams of honey. So I'm just going to pop that in. So I do this way rather than putting it in a little, I could have weighed it out earlier, but you do tend, unless you put olive oil on your container that you put it, that is a tip for you actually. If you want to measure out your honey, put a little bit of olive oil on the dish before you put the honey in and it slides straight out. But tonight I thought, you know, it doesn't matter. Then we've got 2 teaspoons of corn flour in there. And then we've got 2 teaspoons of water, which is obviously to thicken it. And I've just realised my rookie error and I have put it on top of the blades. So when you're doing this, make sure that you don't put it on top of the blades like I've just done, because clearly it can't get the liquid off it if you do that. So that's another tip. All right, now then, there we go. So, oh, water. No, oh no, I've done my water. Next. All right. So now it says cook for 3 minutes, 100 degrees. So I'm just going to pop that on. Press play, and we'll go back to our milkshake. Now let me grab a glass or 2. Usually makes a decent amount. All right, now I often will make what I call, oh, that's really thick. So how about this for thick shake? It's a bit like a McDonald's thick shake, only healthier. It doesn't have any of the extra numbers in. Obviously, you can use your spatula as well, get the rest of it out. Now your butterfly, and I take it out. You've got no wastage on it. And we've used all of that fruit up. And we've got 2 lovely milkshakes. So I'm a great one for less waste. If we can save a little bit, then that's great. Now, I often will make, I'm just going to plonk this to the side out of the way because I'll wash it afterwards on a pre-clean. But I often will make a strawberry milkshake with, so just some strawberries, some milk, and I make vanilla ice cream and have it in the freezer. And I have it in little freezer pods. I'll show them quicker to you while we're cooking the young thing. So this is the freezer pods. All right, you can see them in the bottom. These are in the mix shop, I think, still. If they're not, I do have a couple in stock. So if you're at Cleveland Market, I am down there once a month on the beginning of the month. But this is my vanilla ice cream. So I actually freeze it in pods like that, and then 2 of those pods I will put in with 2 big cups of milk and to have a handful of strawberries, and you've got a strawberry milkshake, and it is to die for. It's so good. And of course, this vanilla ice cream is made with your egg yolk, sugar and cream. It's just proper ice cream. It's delicious. And let's put that back in the freezer. just while I'm in the freezer, here's some Yorkshire puddings that I made yesterday. How cool are them? They were really good, Yorkshire puddings. Okay. All right, how long have we got to go? 30 seconds and then we're done. And we're only 5 minutes over. That's not too bad. Just mop my brow since I've got a bit of a sweat going on. It's a bit warm here in Queensland. It's actually not so much warm, it's just humid. Really humid tonight. Or maybe it's me. Maybe it's the, menopause. Or maybe I'm over it. Well, I wish I was over it. 6 seconds to go. If you want to pop in the chat what you've had for dinner tonight, I'd love to know. All right, that's next. And then all we're going to do now, oops, throwing things around. Let's put that over there, is we're just going to pour our sauce. Like that. There's our lovely teriyaki sauce. And we're just going to pour it over the top like so. And then the other thing to add is sesame seeds. So we normally, I normally would just pop some sesame seeds over the top, using your spatula, getting all that sauce out. There's no point wasting it and leaving any in the bottom. Always going clockwise with your spatula, just to make sure you don't take chunks out of your silicone. Let's pop it on there. Oh, I've missed a bit. There we go. I missed a bit. Right. Now then, we're just going to mix this around. And because this has got a little bit of fluid in the bottom from the juices of the chicken, it actually coats the veggies really nicely in there. So I wonder if our rice is ready yet. What do you reckon? Should we check it? So there is our lovely chicken teriyaki, all done. That would easily feed a family of 4, if not 6, with some rice. I'm going to pop the lid on, keep that warm for a little bit, just pop it to the side. And then let's have a little look at our Thermoserver rice. Now, let's see if it's cooked. Well, looks like it. Use this one. Perhaps not as fluffy as I would like it. I think maybe it needed a little bit more water. Let's have a look. Needs a little bit longer, I think. But I also think it probably could have done with a bit more water. I think I may have restricted the water a little bit too much in there. So I might pop just a little bit more boiled water in there and leave it for another 10 minutes, and I reckon it'll be perfect. But that's the class for tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just hold fire 2 seconds. I will stop the recording. I look forward to seeing you next time I'm live. If you're watching this on YouTube, please remember to hit subscribe and tick the bell, and it will notify you next time a video is uploaded. I upload a video every week, and I may start uploading more soon as well. So it's worth looking out for. All right, and I'll see you next time.